Good morning and welcome to Unity of Ventura's online service. I'm Reverend Heidi Alfrey. I'm so honored to be the spiritual leader of this incredible community. Thank you for being with us for this service. I want you to know that your energy is a huge part of how this service unfolds. So if you want to get whatever you want so you can be here for the next hour, something to drink, something to eat, whatever, just be present and allow this time to be a gift for you. So we begin by honoring who we are and celebrating who we are. You will never come again. So it's very important in this journey that is our life to acknowledge the remarkable uniqueness of who we are and what we have in common. And that is being the light of the world. Now, you may say, I'm a sister, or I'm a mother, or I'm a husband, I'm an accountant, I'm a hairstylist, I'm a minister, I care about the world, however we sort of label ourselves. But the truth is that you are the light of the world. So let us affirm that. Let's spend just a moment of time being in this beautiful body temple. So I'd invite you to put your hand on your heart, close your eyes for a moment, and reflect on something about yourself that you love. Shouldn't be hard, just let it come. And you can say, in honoring that energy that you bring to the world, I am the light of the world. Yeah, it's important. And then take a moment, either someone that's in your space with you, a pet, or someone that is in your life, someone you really care a lot about, or someone you would like to care a lot about, and allow that energy into your moment. And then we'll say to that soul, you are the light of the world. It's really interesting how the mirror of another brings it right back to you. And I have committed to walk every day or hike at least often. And I'm always blown away by the incredible, exquisite gift that is this planet. And all the live things that are saying hello to me in some way or another. It really is something we want to celebrate, to appreciate, and to experience. So now we take a moment to acknowledge the we of this incredible gift that we have, that is this earth and this universe. And so we say, we are the light of the world. We are never alone. We can feel like that sometimes, but it is not true. So now we will go on to talk about the fundamental agreements of Unity of Ventura. So some agreements that this community has made together. They are the mission statement for Unity of Ventura and then our statement of truth. So let us proclaim these truths together. Our mission statement: we provide a loving and accepting environment that inspires personal and spiritual growth through the practice of unity principles in our daily lives. And our statement of truth: there is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. So we are here to inspire our personal and spiritual growth. It's happening right here and right now. Here we go.
Every prayer is answered, every prayer is heard, every thought and feeling, every spoken word, what your soul has longed for, what your heart can feel, is already here, is already real.
There is There's a voice that whispers, there's no you, no me. There's just one, there's just unity.
One power, one presence, one life to lead the way. How loving, how knowing, that answers when you pray.
When the world looks darkest and your eyes can't see, gather all your troubles, give them all to me. I am always with you, I will always be. I am one, I am unity. We are one, we are unity.
Well, top of the morning to ya, and happy belated St. Patrick's Day. This is Sherry Lieberg here, coming to you with the Daily Word for today. As we move into a time of deeper reverence, we remember that we are joining millions of others who read the Daily Word every day. Today's Daily Word comes to us from the archives from January 25th, 1957. This daily word was inspired by 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 9, which says, "Speak, Jehovah, for thy servant heareth." The word for today is listen. The affirmation for today is, I listen to the voice of God within me saying to me, be still and know that I am God. We talk to God, and it is right that we should do so. But how often do we listen? How often do we pause in our prayers and quiet our busy minds for a moment to listen to what the indwelling Spirit has to say to us? Listening to God is the holy secret of receiving prospering ideas. It's listening within in the quietness of the soul that draws forth the divine wisdom we need to solve our problems and the healing inspiration to restore both body and mind. Listen. Is it health that you want to express? Quiet your anxious thoughts and listen in the peace of God to the healing word that Spirit will speak to you. Is it greater abundance you want to manifest? Listening to the prospering presence of God for ideas. Then those ideas will transform your mind and your life. Is it more love or friendship that you desire? The voice of God within will guide you to people, circumstances, and situations that shower you with love and affection. Listen. Is it guidance that you desire? Stop racking your brain long enough to listen calmly for God's holy directions, and they will come. Many times throughout each day, pause in your activities to listen for a moment to that still small voice within that says, be still and know that I am God. And unbroken peace will be yours. The word for today is listen. The affirmation for the day is, I listen to the voice of God within me saying, Be still and know that I am God. Let's affirm that together. I listen to the voice of God within me, saying to me, be still and know that I am God. And so it is. Amen.
Our first song is entitled We'll Meet Again. Our talk title is about listening beyond the veil. And so the recognition of this song is that our souls are connected. And when you have a connection that is based on love, it does live on and on. This song was sung by a British singer, Dame Vera Margaret Lynn. She was a very active singer during the Second World War. And so she also affected a lot of people in this country, inspired many. And you will see Julia Zonik does such a beautiful job of allowing Vera's spirit to come through her. She was called during the Second World War the Force's Sweetheart. And she went on after many of her singing years to help ex-servicemen, disabled children, and worked with people with breast cancer. She ended up 96 years in the music industry. And so, Dame Vera, we now honor you with this beautiful song, We'll Meet Again. And thank you, Julia and Smitty and friends.
We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through, just like you always do, till the blue skies drive the dark clouds far away. So will you please say hello to the folks that I know? Tell them I won't be long. They'll be happy to know that as you saw me go, I was singing this song. We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. So will you please say hello to the folks that I know? Tell them I won't be long. They'll be happy to know that as you saw me go, I was singing this song. We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. white cliffs of Dover. Tomorrow, just you wait and see.
We'll meet again. Thank you, Julia and Smitty and friends. Such a beautiful song. And it is a very comforting message that we will meet again. We are continuing to waltz down our listening path, a book written by Julia Cameron. This is our 4th week, and as we are tuning in our listening, we have tuned in to listen to our environment, our fellows, our neighbors and friends in our lives. Last week we talked about listening to our higher self. And this week we're going a step further, a step deeper, a step onward on our listening path. And that is listening beyond the veil. Quite a bit deeper into the woods of this listening path where it's quieter and more subtle. This isn't this path, this forest that is lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, we're not doing that. We're quieting our listening. We're listening to very subtle things. And this chapter, she's even one to say it can feel a little woo-woo. So our invitation with this chapter is to resist our resistance. And I will come to remind you in this chapter that this shows up differently for each and every one of us. That listening beyond the veil, the whole idea of this is to find a piece of this that is useful to you. It doesn't need to sound exactly like what happens with Julia. It's your own connection in this universe. What do we call the veil? I would call the veil that very thin line between the experience of being alive in this body at this time and souls that have gone on beyond this body. And what kind of connection can we have? Do we have? Again, resist your resistance and allow yourself to have an open mind. I think that's one of the greatest gifts of this spiritual path, is being willing to have an open mind and be willing to explore, be open to perhaps seeing what you haven't seen, and hear what you have not yet heard. This experience that Julia's referring to is to hear beyond the veil. And she is referring in this chapter to people that she's known for many years and have had a very deep connection with them, people that she talked to every day, and that then left this body and went beyond the veil to the other side. And she was open to communicating with them, even though it felt a little strange to her. But we know that love never dies. It is a connection that stays. Mitch Albom actually says, death ends a life, not a relationship. So Julia is asking then, she said that the way that she asks to talk to people that she's known for a long time and to whom she was very close, she says, can I hear from blank? She's just open to that. And she said she was saying this and talking to a friend, a spirit, she said, named Jane Cecil, who was a close friend and advisor during her lifetime. I spoke to her daily and was grateful for her wise counsel. So she asks, can I hear from Jane? I ask, and I hear back promptly, Julia, I am right here at your side. She continues, you are led carefully and well. There is no error in your path. Having greeted me and set me at ease, Jane is ready to be more specific. She turns her attention to the issue at hand. Your book is going well. She tells me, keep a steady pace and do not second guess yourself. Jane's messages are brief and direct. They are soothing, having the uncanny knack of addressing precisely my current concerns. Sometimes they pinpoint a concern before I have identified it. Jane may say, you're clean and sober. You'll continue to be firm in your sobriety. Until Jane spoke, I was not consciously aware of my nagging worrying about drinking. But there it was. Jane's wisdom surpassed my own. So for Julia, her willingness to listen beyond the veil was a very comforting, easy feeling. And that is one of our invitations in this chapter, is to reflect on someone that has passed out of this body that you felt really connected to and supported by, and to be open to asking, can I hear from and this person, and then listen and have this experience of feeling the connection that continues, this experience of being comforted and knowing that those connections are still with you. And this important ability to recognize that you're not alone. So our next experience of listening beyond the veil, as we are celebrating Women's History Month, I wanted to mention a woman that is on our Unity magazine that we often have displayed at our center. And then she ended up being on the front of the Center for Spiritual Living magazine this month. So I find that if I'm listening beyond the veil, I can always say, okay, there's a circumstance that I'm connecting with this person. Yes, and I find that if it's not a person that you want, that you can think of someone that you want to connect with, as Julia did, I find that the universe is sending me messages all the time. And this to me is a fascinating example of how I'm connecting with someone that don't know, or that I'm just not sitting in a room with. Her name is Joy Harjo, and she is a poet. She's a Native American that really represents her ancestors. And I'll read to you about Joy. Joy Harjo is an internationally renowned performer and writer of the Muskogee Creek Nation. She served 3 terms as the 23rd Poet Laureate of the United States from 2019 to 2022, and is the winner of Yale's 2023 Bollingen Prize for American Poetry. She's the author of 10 books of poetry, including the highly acclaimed Weaving Sundown in a Scarlet Light, and 50 poems for 50 years, several plays and children's books, and 2 memoirs, Crazy Brave and Poet Warrior. As a musician and performer, Harjo has produced 7 award-winning music albums, including her newest, I Pray for My Enemies. She served as executive editor of the anthology When the Light of the World Was Subdued, Our Songs Came Through, a Norton anthology of Native Nations poetry, and the editor of Living Nations, Living Words, an anthology of First Peoples poetry. Her poetry is included on a plaque on Lucy, a NASA spacecraft launched in fall 2021 and the first reconnaissance of the Jupiter Trojans. Harjo performs with her saxophone and flutes solo with her band, the Aerodynamics Band, which was previously Joy Harjo and Poetic Justice. She has toured the United States and in Europe, South America, India, Africa, and Canada. Harjo has produced 7 award-winning music albums, including Winding Through the Milky Way, for which she was awarded a NAMI for Best Female Artist of the Year, and her newest album, I Pray for My Enemies. She is Chancellor of the Academy of American Poets, Board Director, Chair of the Native Arts and Cultures Foundation, and is the first artist in residence for Tulsa's Bob Dylan Center. And she lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I bring up Joy for Women's History Month, but also for listening beyond the veil. Joy clearly represents her culture, her ancestry, this important voice of the Native people. And she does it in such incredibly creative ways, very artistic. And so this other picture of Joy is there with her saxophone and her just big mission of listening very deeply on the other side of the veil. She talks about poetry and how important it is that she listened. She says ancestors of a poem. She said, it surprised me because I was a person that never talked. My mother wrote songs and was a singer, and I came to love poetry because she loved it. Poetry is like painting with words. Harlow believes the spirits of our ancestors inform, inspire, and enlighten us. That is listening beyond the veil. As a poet, Harjo views a changing society as an opportunity to explore new ideas. I have felt the explosion of the civil rights movement in this country and have been challenged by the shock waves of human rights struggles all over the world. I've been especially involved in the struggles of my Indian people to maintain a place and a culture in this precarious age. My poetry has everything to do with this. The beginning of Harjo's writing career coincided with the rise of the women's movement. I am seen as a feminist poet, she says. The way I interpret feminism in my own work is the power of a woman to be a warrior, to recognize the warrior characteristics within herself, which includes self-love, vulnerability, honesty, integrity, and a sense of morals. She writes, our art is a kind of road or ladder into the next world, listening beyond the veil. Harjo's poetry reflects the deeper truth of what it means to be human, our relationship to one another, and our relationship to the physical world. We know that the constant is the natural world, even as it changes. We find the truth there. Our roots descend into mystical timelessness. This is an excerpt from her poem, Talking with the Sun. After dancing all night in a circle, we realize that we are a part of a larger sense of stars and planets dancing with us overhead. When the sun rises at the apex of the ceremony, we are renewed. There is no mistaking this connection, though Walmart might be just down the road. Humans are vulnerable and rely on the kindnesses of the earth and the sun. We exist together in a sacred field of meaning. We can hear the importance of listening beyond the veil, of connecting to the warrior within, the warriors of her lineage, and also the warrior inside every woman. That is truly the point of Women's History Month. She says, even though I'm just learning the elements of jazz, this is her music she's talking about, I listen to it a lot. There is a history of connections among the Muskogee, African American, and Seminole people. What I hear in jazz is my people, and I feel related to the music. Harjo is, though very much an American poet, extracts from her personal and cultural memories a deeper, almost hallucinatory picture of life beyond the physical, and her poetry is all the richer because of it. Here, she writes, is a living, breathing earth to which we are all connected. Here is unbridled potential for the poetic in everything, even in ourselves. In that fact is beauty and perhaps redemption. All memory bends to fit. We all become poems. I am so grateful to Joy Harjo, and we will continue to read her poetry as we journey on this listening path. I'll use it for our meditation today. I've ordered this book that's called Conflict Resolution for Holy Beings. I look forward to a continued journey with Joy and her continuing to listen to what it is that she needs to share with this world for, as she says, for unity for all of us. I now have a third example of listening beyond the veil. We looked at Julia's connection with people in her life that she's known well and she talked to regularly. And then we have Joy's example of connecting to her ancestors. And the other way that we can listen beyond the veil is to connect with our spiritual masters. We do this very often in our unity teachings, to connect with this, what we can call our Christ consciousness, our Buddha nature. And it is profound to recognize that that really is listening beyond the veil also. There used to be a movement that was entitled WWJD, and it referred to, what would Jesus do? I remember I had a bracelet that said WWJD, and I thought it was a good reminder. And I had a rather humorous story that I felt this very strong connection with Jesus, the man, and Jesus that became Jesus Christ, the consciousness that overcame the challenges that he dealt with. I was the associate minister at Unity Temple on the Plaza in Kansas City for years. And I have always been very interested in authenticity and the layers that the human being puts on to be accepted or to be connected or to sort of fit in. And so much of authenticity is taking off the stories of who I think I have to be lovable. And I have found that to be a really wonderful teaching. And I wanted to have a service that was something like that, interview different members of the community and talk to them about coming into unity and all the things they had to release, perhaps having a real hang up with God, or not feeling worthy of having this consciousness within. And so I was connecting with things like Lao Tzu that says, if I let go of who I am, I become who I might be. So I had this title that came to me, and at the time I started a radio show. It was on Unity Online Radio that doesn't exist anymore, but the title that came to me was Let's Get Naked, and then the second part of that line was revealing your authentic self. And I realized becoming vulnerable and becoming authentic can feel very uncomfortable, like getting naked. Yes. And so the radio station was happy for me to have that show, and I interviewed all kinds of people, the people that wrote books and painted paintings and sang songs, and every single person that is living authentically had to become naked, quote unquote. So I was invited to, I went to our board meeting, and I talked to my senior minister about calling our service, Let's Get Naked, Revealing Your Authentic Self. And he said, sure, just talk to the board. So I went in to present this to the board, and I wrote the title and what the service was going to be about, and I passed it out, and I said, this is what I like to do for a Wednesday night service. And I looked around, and the faces had all turned to stone. And the board president said, Heidi, would you mind leaving the room while we discuss this? And I looked over at my senior minister, and he was sort of, he wasn't, at one point I felt like a Judas. You were supposed to support me. And he was, not knowing really what to do. But I went out and I stood in the hall. I think before I left, I said, I feel very naked. And then I went and stood out in the hall, and I stood there and I stood there, and I just felt like, I was on some kind of detention or something. I went in my office and I just started crying. I felt this sadness, and I thought, what I'm presenting to them is exactly what they're experiencing, but there's so much shame around this word. They asked me to leave, right? And I started to think about, I felt a lot of connection with Jesus and his experience of coming to tell the world there isn't this outer God, there's an inner God, and you are the light of the world. I said that, and here came Gidget. Hello, Gidget, you're the light of the world. And I felt just this very strange sadness about such a simple message. And I wasn't, of course, saying anything or trying to elicit any kind of uncomfortable feeling. But I knew what my intention was, and it was just so interesting that I was sort of banished because I had an idea that was, kind of bold and maybe edgy a little bit. And so the decision was that it was just a little too much. Now, this is the Midwest, right? And so I was able to accept that. But connecting with the idea of this was something that Jesus had experienced also, was just the feeling of being shamed or rebuked for something that was to remind people about the power within them. So I ended up calling the service the Revealing Word. And listening beyond the veil was very comforting to me, to realize that this wasn't a reflection on my intention. It was the ability for people to receive it at that time, and that was the deciding group of people, and it was okay, and it didn't shut me down. And so listening beyond the veil is listening sometimes to a spiritual master that is a connection for you. There might be some kind of spirit guide that you listen to, and it's all okay. This talk today is about you finding the comfort and being willing to hear perhaps what you haven't stopped long enough to hear. So this can be a personal experience with an old friend, with someone that has passed that was close, or with your ancestors, or with a spiritual master. And to recognize most often we may be coming in a way before our time is ready, or the time is ready. I really like the idea that I am making the universe something different because I'm here. Steve Jobs said, we're here to make a dent in the universe. And I believe listening on the other side of the veil is where you can feel supported to make that dent in the universe. Some wonderful quotes about being yourself. Carl Jung says that your vision will become clear only when you can look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams? He looks inside awakes. And inside will be that connection to the other side of the veil. Oscar Wilde, be yourself. Everyone else is taken. And then we have a very profound, my favorite metaphysician, Dr. Seuss, says, be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. And we'll close with Mitch Albom. He was the author of Tuesdays with Maury, all about connecting to the other side. And he says, we're all connected. You can no more separate one life from another than you can separate a breeze from the wind. So enjoy this week. Resist your resistance. Be open-minded to attempt one of these ways of listening to a great old friend that has passed, or a young friend, to your own ancestors. And how can you represent your heritage? Or perhaps a spiritual master that guides you to know that you are not alone. You never have been and you never will be. There are unseen forces that support you in growing and being the beautiful soul that you were born to be. Listen well. Thanks for traveling this listening path with me. And so it is. Our meditation today will be led with the energy of Joy Harjo from her book of poetry, Conflict Resolution for Holy Beings. So let us embrace the holy beingness within ourselves. Her invocation is, bless the poets, the workers for justice, the dancers of ceremony, the singers of heartache, the visionaries, all makers and carriers of fresh meaning. We will all make it through. Despite politics and wars, despite failures and misunderstandings, there is only love. I invite you to get comfortable in the seat in which you're sitting, to relax and be alert at the same time. And this is a poem from the Conflict Resolution for Holy Beings. It is entitled, For Calling the Spirit Back from Wandering the Earth in Its Human Feet. So we will call the spirit back from wandering the earth in its human feet. Put down that bag of potato chips, that white bread, that bottle of pop. Turn off that cell phone, computer, and remote control. Open the door, then close it behind you. Take a breath offered by friendly winds. They travel the earth, gathering essences of plants to clean. Give back with gratitude. If you sing, it will give you spirit to lift, to fly to the stars' ears and back. Acknowledge this earth, who has cared for you since you were a dream, planting itself precisely within your parents' desire. Let your moccasin feet take you to the encampment of the guardians who have known you before time, who will be there after time. They sit before the fire that has been there without time. Let the earth stabilize your post-colonial, insecure jitters. Be respectful of the small insects, birds, and animal people who accompany you. Ask their forgiveness for the harm we humans have brought down upon them. Don't worry, the earth knows the way, though there may be high rises, interstates, checkpoints, armed soldiers, wars, and those that will despise you because they despise themselves. The journey might take you a few hours, a day, a year, a few years, 100, 1,000, or even more. Watch your mind. Without training, it might run away and leave your heart for the immense human feast set by the thieves of time. Do not hold regrets. When you find your way to the circle, to the fire kept burning by the keepers of your soul, you will be welcomed. You must clean yourself with cedar, sage, or other healing plants. Cut the ties you have to failure or shame. Let go the pain you are holding in your mind, your shoulders, your heart, all the way to your feet. Let go of the pain of your ancestors to make way for those who are heading in our direction. Ask for forgiveness. Call upon the help of those who love you. These helpers take many forms: animals, element, bird, angel, saint, stone, or ancestor. Call your spirit back. It may be caught in corners and creases of shame, judgment, and human abuse. You must call in a way that your spirit will want to return. Speak to it as you would a beloved child. Welcome your spirit back from its wandering. It may return in pieces, in tatters. Gather them together. They will be happy to be found after being lost for so long. Your spirit will need to sleep a while after it is bathed and given clean clothes. Now you can have a party. Invite everyone you know who loves you and supports you. Keep room for those who have no place else to go. Make a giveaway, and remember, keep the speeches short. Then you must do this. Help the next person find their way through the dark. So we will rest listening to native music for moments as your soul is gathered from the weary journey with the human feet. We return to this breath, recognizing the importance of listening beyond the veil, of recognizing there are forces unseen that are here to support and nourish you. There is a connection that you might not have experienced before, that you're being encouraged to be open to resist your resistance and see what new life may be awakened and birthed on this listening path. We feel so grateful for our teachers on this path, for the Fillmores, and the message of our spiritual masters. Everyone and everything with whom you connect, to know the importance of your existence on this planet, right here and right now. There is only love. All right, it is now time for us to be part of the ongoing of Unity of Ventura. We celebrate the energy of money, the way that it flows into our life, and we give where we are spiritually fed, and we create the space for it to come right back. Thank you all for supporting Unity of Ventura. It's a wonderful place. It's my spiritual home, and I know it's yours. So the ways to give, you'll see the slide right now. You can go to our website and click donate, and you can give with a credit card. Under the fund, it'll say you go to general budget. Let's see, you can Venmo, and you can also, we still have our address at Poinsettia Pavilion, which is right there. You can mail a check. Just know that you allow this place to be here for you and for many others. All right, so hold your one of many channels of good in your hand, and let us say our love offering affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. Thank you, God.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, and I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, yeah. If you're tossing and turning and just can't fall asleep, I'll sing a song beside you. And if you ever forget how much you really mean to me, every day I will remind you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, and I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. shoulder when you're crying. I'll never let go, never say goodbye. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, and I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do. I am. Whoa, 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 whoa. Count on me 'cause I can count on you. Never let go, never say goodbye. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, and I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you.
What's happening at Unity of Ventura? Well, thank you so much for your patience. We've been patient together. We are clearly still online for our service, and we'll have one more Sunday, March 26th. And then the idea, hold it in your mind, is that we will be together on Palm Sunday, April 2nd, at the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Ventura. And we'll give you all the information next Sunday, and it'll be in our e-newsletter. And you know, Palm Sunday is about the triumphant entry, so it is a perfect Sunday for us to gather together in person again. I know we're all thrilled. So we have a lease and we are signing it, getting our insurance together, and so it's a great time to be together, and it will happen. All right, you know, we do have our midweek meditation. It's at 9 a.m. on Wednesday mornings. You're welcome to get on our website and contact Janet Rector for the Zoom code, and it's a wonderful way to center in the middle of the week. We continue on the listening path with Julia Cameron. We have a couple more weeks. You're welcome to join our Monday night class. You can sign up online. It's $25 a class, and it is a rich, rich conversation. And I know my listening has become just so much more, I'm so much more aware of what is around me, what is within me. We have many beautiful testimonials of how people are enjoying their lives more and feeling the richness that is our spirit. We'd love you to join us. Stay with us for the Unity song. It's a Let There Be Peace on Earth, and let it begin with me. And then we'll go right into our prayer for protection. And we'd love you to stay online and talk with us about whatever came to you during the service and whatever's on your heart. Namaste. Lots of love.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as our Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous love. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a beautiful week. Stay on and talk to us if you have time. Be the light that you are, dear ones.